And that's actually a topic that I wanted to discuss with you, Ryan, which is about trading peers and how they've been able to influence you, and you've been able to influence one another over the years. So, can you talk a little bit about, your trading network? I know you had mentioned that you met Nate when he was young and trading OTCs. So, what's that relationship been like, and what's the impact been of your trading network?
Yeah. So yeah, Nate is awesome and he's been great. And I have a couple guys like Nate where honestly, what we don't have to tell each other, hey, this stock, look at the setup. This looks good. It's more like, man, I'm eyeing this thing. What do you think? And the other person's like, I like it too. And it's just kind of a confirmation of something. But I'll tell you, Anthony, honestly, the biggest thing that's been the biggest blessing, I think, for me has been the connection with guys like Nate and a couple other traders that I respect, where when you have a terrible trade, when you break all of your rules, when you've lost 3 days in a row, which sounds like nothing, but when if you've been green 30 days in a row and you have 3 days where you're red, it's crazy. You wouldn't think a guy like me who's done this so long, but I still start thinking, can I do this? Can I still do this? Is there something am I no longer capable of making money as a trader? Um, when you have those moments to be able to pick up the phone and call a buddy like Nate and say, "Man, I just got killed." I remember I had a moment, uh, and we've all had several moments. Nate's had ones where he's called me, especially a guy who shorts so heavily. It's easy to get caught in some of those crazy ones, and he's so good at now trying to avoid all of that stuff. But man, over the years, there was times you get those moments like these. I won't mention all the symbols, but the ones where they just went, from $10 to 100 or to 1,000, just crazy stuff where you kind of, if you for a second blink and break your rules and add to a loser, you can blow up an account really easily. And I remember I had a moment probably 2 years ago where I was trading Amazon options on Amazon, and it was the day, and this broke a rule of mine. One of my rules is don't trade that hour after the Fed. It was, for me, it's at 12 o'clock when the Fed makes an announcement, and they were coming out with their rate change, what they were going to do. And so I just find it's better. I love volatility, but that's such a crazy moment that it's kind of like, just let it settle a little bit and then start trading. And I didn't. And I was sticking with it because I was frustrated, and I was trading Amazon. And this was before Amazon's last split. So it was still making like $100, $200 moves in a day it could make, where now it's trading at $100, but then it was like 3,000. So it could go from 2,800 to 3,000 or whatever. It was making these huge moves. And I had been frustrated because a couple times during that day, I just started getting everything wrong, where I was long the calls, pretty good size, and then finally would stop out for a loss, and then it would do the exact move I had been hoping for, and then I would go short. I'd have puts, pretty good size, and finally couldn't take the pain, so I would stop out, and then it made the exact move I thought. So it's like, okay, I lost 7,000 here, I lost 10,000 there, and in both cases, it was a $20,000 or $30,000 gain the other way within seconds or minutes, and it's just like, oh. So this was already in my head, which another rule is, when I'm having those moments, walk away for a few minutes and reset and refocus and go smaller. I didn't do any of that. Now the Fed announcement comes, and I'm already upset, and I want to get green for the day. And I'm like, I never even usually trade this time of day. I'm usually gone. And so anyway, Amazon finally starts making this reversal and starts moving. And I had been long right before that. And again, stopped out for the third time. And so now I was down pretty good for the day. And it started making this move. And it was like, oh, yeah, I'd be up 50,000. Oh, I'd be up 100,000 now on these calls. I'd be up 150,000, like just crazy, which for some guys, that's nothing. For me, that's huge. I still don't trade huge size. Well, it kept going, and I started buying. It was now like 30 minutes till the close, and I started buying puts they were going to expire in 30 minutes, 0 days till expire. And no, nothing on the chart said to do it other than the things run like 200 points, and it was like, it's got to take a dip. I don't care. It's got to take a dip. And the fact I'm mad because I was just in a position 100 points earlier that would have made me huge. And so I start buying puts and throwing good money after bad. And it's bad. Like I'm looking at it, my average was at like $20 on these puts, and all of a sudden they were trading at $10, $8, $7, $6, $5, $4, and I hadn't stopped out, and I was still buying. And next thing I know, I'm in like $300,000 worth of those puts on Amazon, and I'm like, I've averaged down so much, breaking every rule, but still thinking all I need is for it to dip like $10 of the 200-point move it's made, and I think I'll break even or make a little bit of money and get out of this nightmare. And it wouldn't, and it didn't, and it kept upticking on air, and there was zero dips. And finally, I just said I can't. There was like 8 minutes left in the day or something, and I sold um, for I think it was $165,000 loss, which it would have been a $350,000 loss just 8 minutes later because they went to zero. But I walked out of the room. My wife's like, "Hey, how'd the day go?" And it was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go throw up in the backyard." I think is how the day went. And anyway, I called Nate and just said, and another guy that I really like that's in IU that I just quietly we talked back and forth, and I just told him I got killed on this trade. And what'd you do wrong? Oh, I only added about 27 times to a loser after the Fed decision with nothing in the chart telling me there was a reason, no setup, nothing. I mean, I could list A through Z all of the rules that I broke. But you know, you got this, buddy. Hey, Harb, you got this. You can do that. You can do this. Start tomorrow. Start small again. He's giving me the pep talk. Start small. Uh, look for your setup. Wait. Don't try to get it all back tomorrow in the first trade. Do what you know to do. You've done this forever. You got this. You got this. All right, thanks. All right, bye. That kind of discussion. And we've had that discussion back and forth both ways, me with him. You know what you're doing. Go small again. You got caught in a nightmare. You know what you can do different the next time. And there's something about having somebody who's been in the trenches with you, who's been in the wars, who understands what it's like to tell you, you got this, you can do this, you know what you've done wrong, you can correct this. You don't have to get it all back tomorrow. Start small, refocus, don't trade anymore today. Go back at it tomorrow or take a couple days off. Just all these little things that we feel helps us. But to hear it from somebody else, um, and I'll be honest, there's been times and I'm thankful. I had the greatest wife in the world. She's the most supportive ever, always has been, and you need somebody like that, or at least if you have somebody fighting against that, I can't imagine it. If you have a significant other, to have them say, "You got this, you can do this," has made all the difference. When we have 5 children, and now they're all out of the home, but when they were little, and I basically have them on my lap while I'm trying to trade, and she's staying at home as a mom, the pressure was so great. I remember times before the 25K rule, I had 5,000 in my account. And I mean, I had to make 5,000 that month to pay the bills, to pay the mortgage, to cover everything and get food on the table. So I need to make 100% of my money every month. And it was so much pressure because I get it to 10,000, but I got to take 5,000 out. I never got a chance to breathe. It was like, okay, well, here we go again, double my money again. And thankfully we would, and take the money out and do it. I mean, but the pressure of that is great. And if you don't have a support system and people that can, they say, "You got this, you can do this." If you don't have that, for me personally, I couldn't have made it. I needed that. I needed a wife like that. And I needed people like Nate and others who have just been able to lift me up and say, "You got this."